Alright, so this is a quick story, quick testimony of how I got my nurse practitioner job. I mean, when I think about how it happened, it really was only God. It could have only been God. So if you've been following my story for a little bit, you know I graduated from nurse practitioner school, or I graduated from nursing school with my women's health nurse practitioner degree last year, May of 2022. I took my boards, I think in May or June, and I failed the first attempt. I took it again, maybe in October, and then I passed the second attempt. Thank God. I made some changes to the way I was studying, and I started studying some new material, which I talk about that on my YouTube channel, and a lot of people have told me that it has helped them and they have used that material to study. And one person actually messaged me a few days ago, and she came back to tell me that she used the material that I gave and the tips that I gave, and she ended up passing on her second try. So I'm really happy for her, and I'm really just thankful that God is using me to help people, bringing me out of my shell, I guess, to just be honest and transparent and vulnerable and talk about the things, my journey, and I'm glad it's helping you guys. So I had to take my board exam twice and became board certified in December of 2022. So I've been looking for a job since January, and looking, and I mean, there just wasn't that many women's health nurse practitioner jobs out there to begin with, which I kind of knew I would, possibly have that hurdle. There were a lot of family nurse practitioner jobs, but I did not want to do that. And it seemed like the only jobs that were hiring for women's health nurse practitioners, a lot of places, was like Planned Parenthood. Due to my religious beliefs, I am not working at Planned Parenthood, and I think that was really a test of my faith, because God, I was praying, I was like out there looking, and I'm like, why is there only Planned Parenthood jobs? And I mean, not that I ever got weak to the point that I considered it, but at one point I was like, devil, you're a liar. Like, there is, like, every day I got all of these emails telling me about all of these Planned Parenthood jobs. So months go on. Of course, I have my bouts of, God, what's going on? Tears are cried, prayers are prayed, and I'm just like, what's going on? But throughout the whole time, I'm staying prayerful, I'm staying faithful. Just because you cry a little bit or you question God for a moment doesn't mean you're not staying faithful. So through it all, I was staying faithful. I was still, recording the journey and posting about it. And it got to the point to where I was just like, you know what, God? I think I had 2 interviews or 2 possibilities, but then one of them, which looked really promising, like, everything was great, interview went great, but they decided to go with a doctor. I can't help that. The other one, it just didn't sit right with me. And I was, throughout the whole time, even though I had been looking for a while, I was praying that, God, I want to be in a job where I can grow. I want to be, like, in the right job, and I want to be in a job that you're with me when I'm there. I want to be in the right place. My prayer was, if you're not there, I don't want it. How many times do we say that? But do we actually mean it? So I was tested a lot to prove that I actually meant it, and I really did. Like, I went to school for a while, and I loved my current job that I was doing. I was a labor and delivery nurse. There was no reason for me to rush to leave that job. I took my time in looking. If it didn't sit right with me, then I just wasn't going to take it. So anyways, so when I got this job, I was a point to where, like, I've called everybody I know. I've called all of the doctors I used to work for with labor and delivery, the doctors I did clinicals with. I thought I had a for sure job going out of before I finished school. But then that doctor kind of changed the way of his practice, and then therefore he didn't need NP at the time. So all of these things that I thought were going to line up just didn't line up. So then one particular day, I don't know, I was like, God, I need a job. What's going on? Like, I have faith. I'm praying. I'm doing, like, why don't I have a job? Then all of a sudden, there was a voice in my head, which I now know was the Holy Spirit, that said, call doctor. And in my head, I'm like, well, why would I call that doctor? Because he's not looking for an NP. Like, I know that because he's growing his practice with his family. Holy Spirit said, call the doctor. So I called the doctor because I know he's not looking for an NP. Well, I texted him and I said, hey, so you know anybody looking for an NP? And like literally 2 minutes later, he texted me back and he said, well, call doctor. And in my head, I got, the word's not scared or nervous, but I was like, why would I call? He's not looking for nobody. I talked to him about a year ago and he said he was not looking for anybody. So I, struggled internally in my head with the Holy Spirit, I guess. Like, I'm not calling such and such. And then I was still working in labor and delivery. I go to work and I see a doctor that's in that particular doctor I was supposed to call's practice. I'm more comfortable with this doctor, so I was like, hey, are you guys looking for an NP? And the doctor was like, actually we are, but you have to talk to the particular doctor. And so this was literally the first day I went back to work. I saw a doctor from the group and they told me they were looking for an NP. The next day I went to work, I saw another doctor from the group and I asked that doctor, and the doctor said, yes, we are, but you have to talk to. So I was like, okay, God. Literally, the next time I went to work, I saw the doctor I was supposed to talk to. That originally, this is who I was supposed to talk to. But for some reason, fear creeped up. Maybe the fear of hearing another no, because to be honest, I was tired of hearing no. And fear creeped up, and I mean, I'm human. That day, fear won. I saw the doctor. Literally, the doctor had no reason to be there, had no patient. So obviously, he was there for me to talk to. I didn't say anything. The doctor came by, said hi, and left. So then, I'm like, God, why was this doctor here? He has no patients. Obviously, I was supposed to talk to him. So then I was like, okay. I apologize for disobedience because I was supposed to obey and talk to the doctor, right? And then I was like, did I lose my chance? But I didn't worry too much about it. I left. I went home. The very next shift I worked, the doctor comes by again. This time I think they had a patient, but the doctor comes by. Fear creeped up again. I almost let the doctor walk off the unit again, but then I got some type of strength, I guess, and I chased him down the hall. And I chased the doctor down the hall. And then I was like, hey, are y'all looking for an NP? He said, so the doctor said, actually, yes, we are. So the doctor was like, are you an NP? I said, yes, I finished school and I just got certified. The doctor gave me, I think, the email address for the hiring manager. So this was Friday evening, and I don't get off work till like 7-ish, get home around 8. So the doctor said, email this person. And I said, okay, but it might not be until late. The doctor was like, fine, and walked off. So Friday night, I emailed the HR person. Saturday, I go do some volunteer work, and then as I'm getting out to do what I'm there to do, literally Saturday, maybe around 1 p.m., the HR person emails me back and says, I've heard nothing but great things about you. Can we get you in for an interview? So mind you, I'm like, what? Like, I just emailed you Friday night. This is Saturday morning, afternoon. You're not even at work. Why are you emailing me? When God is in it, y'all, things happen quickly. This was not even 12 hours later. So I emailed the HR guy Friday night. He emailed me Saturday afternoon. I had an interview Tuesday afternoon. And the crazy thing is, I was working my labor and delivery shift Tuesday. I had another interview Tuesday morning over the phone. Did not go well at all. My spirit was like, that's not the place for you. So I was at work, labor and delivery. I took an extended lunch, changed out of my work clothes, put on business attire, went to the interview. The interview was like I was talking to family. Like, so I walk in, the HR person is there, and the doctor I was supposed to talk to from the start, which that kind of surprised me. I don't think I was expecting the doctor to be there. But like, we literally talked for like, the interview took about an hour, and we were just sitting there talking, and it was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. But during my spiritual journey, I've learned not to rush things and, you know, take your time. So I told them, look, give me a few days to let you know my answer. And they were like, sure, take your time, blah, 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 which to me at the time was another sign that this might be the place for me to be, because there was no rush. The other place I had interviewed with that morning, they were like, I need an answer now, rush. It just was not right. So I actually prayed and fasted about it. I was like, God, if this is where I'm supposed to be, give me peace. Let me feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. If I'm not supposed to be here, God, give me a sign. I took my time. I did not rush it. A lot of times we jump into situations without talking to God about it. And I think that's where a lot of our issues and downfall comes from. But after my praying and fasting and all the things, I was like, okay, this is the job for me. Everything I needed is there. What I'm asking for, I'm getting. So I accepted. Literally, from the time I actually talked to the doctor I was supposed to talk to till I got the job was like a week. And that was only because I took the extra time. So when I say God moves quickly, he does. When it's your time, it's your time. Like, there's no protocol when God says it's your time. The biggest thing though is to pray and actually seek God before you make a big decision like that. I know so many people who are working somewhere where they hate or they don't feel supported. Like, this was my first time going to be working in this role, and this is a big role. I needed to feel supported. Another confirmation came that let me know this is the job. So before I accepted this job, like a couple months before, I had applied for another job that seemed great. It was in an area that I wanted. Everything seemed great. But then there was like a backup. I even reached out and I was like, hey, what's up? And they were like, yeah, I don't know. Things are a little bit behind schedule. So I had moved on from, that job. And when I accepted the place I'm at, literally, I think on my second or third day of working there, that other job called me and they wanted me to come in for a in-person interview because I had only interviewed over the phone. I called them back the next day and let them know that I would not be able to come in for a second interview because I had just accepted somewhere else. The disappointment was so evident in his voice. He pretty much let me know at that point that the second interview was just formality, that they wanted to offer me the job. The money he was going to offer me was like, it was good. But I had already accepted this job and I knew I was supposed to be at this job. And because they didn't call me before I accepted this job, I knew that it was just like a trick to maybe get me out of the position that God told me to be in. I wasn't supposed to be there. I'm supposed to be where I'm at now. And I've just had several confirmations since I've been here. And it's not that, everybody in the office is a Christian and that's why I'm supposed to be here. No, I don't even I don't even know if a lot of them are, but I'm supposed to be here for a reason, and God is slowly revealing that to me, and I feel comfortable here. I'm able to grow here. I'm doing things here that I did not think I would be doing at this point in my career, and I'm learning a lot that I can use in the future. So that took a little bit longer than I thought, but I just wanted to let you guys know how I got the job, that it was all God, that all of the no's, all of the tears, but I stayed faithful and I waited for the job that God had for me, and I'm happy. So don't rush the job search. Don't just jump into anywhere without seeking God first. Those are some of the things I would say will help you find the place where you're supposed to be. I am excited to see what I will continue to learn here. And I mean, the experience I'm having is far better than what I thought I would be having. I really did think the transition would be hard from, an experienced nurse, charge nurse, confident in my position, to pretty much starting all over again. But the transition has not been hard, and I do believe it is because I am where God wanted me to be. So take your time, don't rush into anything, and seek God first. But yeah, that's my testimony of how I got my nurse practitioner job.